Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for July 27th through August 2nd. This week I read 5 books, I watched 1 show, I watched 1 movie, and I listened to 1 book. Longtime watchers of the channel probably know that I'm currently in my best friend's house, which means there's a good chance you will hear some pet noises throughout this. Currently I'm watching 1 dog, 2 cats, and 2 amphibians, although the amphibians don't really make all that much sound. But the chihuahua at my feet definitely does. Hi. Back up. You can't jump that high, can you? Oh. Hi. Is this the only way you're gonna be okay with me doing this? How dare I make a video in your house? The first book that I read this week is Where the Dead Brides Gather. This is about an 11-year-old girl who lives in Nigeria, and one day she is waiting for her cousin's wedding and she is transported into being something called a bride sentinel, which is basically somebody who makes sure that the spirits of previous brides who didn't actually get to wed don't take over the current bride's body. From there she goes to this afterworld type of place to kind of learn how to do her job properly, and then when she comes back the plot completely changes again. This one was a little bit weird. It is horror, but it didn't feel like horror to me, and I assume that's just because I'm looking at it through like a very Western-centric lens. Or maybe it's just that it was just so disjointed that I couldn't really get into the horror vibes. I'm not quite certain. I did enjoy it, but it felt like it took a really, really long time to get through, even though it's a comparatively short book. You're okay. You're just Next, I read a really slim graphic novel called Gender is Really Strange. This one is kind of like a medical pamphlet crossed with a graphic guide. It didn't really have the space for a lot of nuance, although it did dive into a lot of things and then has a whole bibliography at the back, so if there's anything in particular you wanted to look into, it points you in the right direction. Other than that, not too much to say about it. The art was cute, it was informative, there was a decent amount of words per page. Are you okay right there? Yeah? Okay. Just let me know when you're not. The next book I read is Boys Run the Riot Volume 4. This is the last in the series and it was so good. It was really good to see these people get together and figure out exactly what their brand was going to be, and they finally found somebody to mentor them, which was really cool. We also get to learn particularly the backstory of one of the characters. We get to see the other characters tell his family about things, and it's just so good. If you haven't read this series, it is nice and short and it's fantastic. Something else I read cover to cover on Friday is Asking for a Friend. This is a middle grade book about a non-binary student who has switched schools and has anxiety, and something happened at their last school that made them really not want to be there anymore, because basically they had one friend, and once they were reading a book and realized that the character is non-binary and that feels perfect to them, they tried to tell this friend about that, and the friend was like, 1, you're not interesting enough, and 2, that's not a real thing, which, you know, not great. So Eden has switched schools and hasn't really made friends, even though there's a few different people in their class that they've been like, I'd really love to be friends with that person, but clearly they're never going to want to be friends with me. Unfortunately, they've been telling their mother this whole time different stories about these different classmates, but failing to actually say that these are technically things that have happened, but Eden isn't actually friends with these people. So when Eden's mom wants to throw them a birthday party for the first time ever, they're like, oh no, now I have to actually befriend these people, otherwise my mom's gonna get really upset with me. This was absolutely lovely. You get this queer group of friends that come together. Also get people that understand anxiety and panic attacks and what to do in those situations, and that was just lovely to see, just people being really nice to each other and understanding each other, and I definitely shed some tears near the end of this book. As for the last thing I read with my eyeballs, that was West of West Indian. This is a collection of poetry by a Caribbean man who grew up in St. Vincent and since moved to Canada. I never really know how to talk about poetry because I don't really know how to read poetry. Like, I can read the words on the page, but I won't necessarily understand it in the way that I feel like the artist intended. So what I can say about this collection is there are a number of words that if you're not from the area, you're probably going to want to look up just to fully contextualize them. Strangely enough, I actually found a post-it note from a previous person who had it out from the library contextualizing one of the words, which was super helpful. And I can say this book had various experiences of growing up Caribbean and queer. Other than that, I don't really feel all that qualified to talk about too much more of it. other than I enjoyed the experience of it. The show that I watched this week was Silent Witness. When I talked to you last time, I was in the 20th season, and strangely, I'm still in the 20th season. I only watched 4 episodes this week, which is 2 story arcs, because every story is a 2-parter. It's not that I'm slowing down on the show by any means, it's just I was away from my television for a significant portion of the week. I had friends come in from the UK, so we were up island visiting them, and now I'm currently here and I don't have access to the service that has that show on it, which just means that when I get home I'll be very happy to watch my stories again. Although, speaking of having access to different streaming platforms, now that I'm at my best friend's house, I finally watched K-pop Demon Hunters. Because my household canceled all their Netflix accounts when tariffs started being a thing and America started being essentially scarier than usual. But that service still exists here, so I took advantage of it. I can see why people are raving about this. This was a lot of fun. The characters were really fun. It was beautifully created and all of the music is absolutely gorgeous. I can foresee this being something I'm going to want to rewatch. If you somehow haven't seen it before I've seen it, it's about this group of people who are demon hunters and they are K-pop stars, and basically every generation there's 3 girls who come together, they sing together, and they slay demons. Unfortunately, these demons are supposed to be collecting souls for this entity, and that entity really wants souls, so it keeps sending demons to Earth in order to collect them, and one of the demons comes up with a really good idea of making a demon boy band and collecting souls that way. There's more twists and turns along the way. There's characters that don't even speak but definitely have an impact, and I can say I highly enjoyed it and understand why it's so beloved. You put off so much heat for such a tiny dog. I am so warm I am sweating right now. How are you shivering? Take some iced coffee to offset the heat coming off this dog sitting on my lap. It's also sat in the weirdest way, so I have to like keep my legs just so or she's gonna fall. You're a workout. The audiobook I listened to this week is Let Them Stare by Jonathan Van Ness and Julie Murphy. I knew nothing about this book going into it besides those were the authors, and I went, I've read things by both of those authors before, absolutely loved them, so I'm gonna absolutely love this, and it turns out, yeah, I absolutely loved this. This book is about 18-year-old Sully, a non-binary cutie, who's about to leave their small town to move to New York City and work as the assistant to an influencer. They just have to get through this going away party and then they are jet setting away and they're going to live their best life. But of course it's not that easy. It turns out that Sully really has an eye for fashion, and at the thrift store that they used to work at, they picked up this bag that they are pretty sure is an authentic butler bag, which is a highly sought after piece. They get it for a steal if it is in fact an authentic bag, and when they open it they get more than they bargained for. I really loved this. I loved all of the side characters. I wanted to know what was going on with every single one of them. I really loved the humor in this. I really loved that the audiobook was narrated by Jonathan Van Ness. That was a delightful experience. And I would happily read a whole series of books by these authors because this was just absolutely fantastic. I loved everything about it. I'm gonna take a picture of this dog for you because this is some impressive sitting. Yep, that's what I'm working with. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you're here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye! I gotta move now so I can turn the camera off. I'm so sorry, but I'll turn your heating pad on so you can stop heating me.